Hey, I think we're live. So today, hello everybody. No one, because no one's joining yet. But today we are going to explore some ideas that I had. I am charging my iPad, and I hope that I'll be able to get the iPad on the stream as well. And what we're going to do is continue on my idea that eval is the only tool you need. Instead of using MCPs, just use eval to write code to do the tool calls you need, and you provide the primitives that you need to do your work, like say access GitHub as an SDK to the code evaluator they're using. So I've been using Goja, which is a JavaScript Go embedded library, and I embedded it into an MCP. You can do some pretty crazy stuff. So the concept kind of works, and I need, however, to build a few more features into it to do persistent code to reload it next time. And a major feature is also being able to use LLM inference in this JavaScript environment. And I do have JavaScript bindings for my LLM framework. This framework is over-engineered. It's not great. The code generation doesn't do good on it. So I'm so close to like replacing all of it. But currently I had I had AMP code in the background build JS inference into this server, and I've never tested it. So maybe this is the first thing I want to test, and then maybe as we move along, I'll get more into this idea that I've been teasing, and that I'm curious to validate, maybe just by running a few mock experiments to basically have a different approach to coding with LLMs while using sub-agents, or like maybe an idea that can replace sub-agents, and I think is much more powerful in the sense that sub-agents, as we know them currently, of just forking off little sub AMP codes or Claude codes or whatever, doing tasks in parallel, or say codecs on multiple tickets, that there's a way to actually be much more richer in what we do with these approaches. And the approach of forking a subthread with its own context, running on its own, is, I think, just a special case of the thing I have in mind. And I'll go back to this a little bit later. For now, I'm just going to start while maybe people join or whatever, to look at this AMP code result, which I literally have no idea what it did. So the first thing, I know that this is the thread that led to it. So I'm going to write a full write-up of the work you did in Go Labs TTAM 25061501 JS server work report.md, just to catch up on what we did last time. And so to show for some of the it's always weird at the beginning of a stream, right? Because you don't really know who's joining, who isn't there. I have so many things that have been running in parallel that I kind of don't know where to start often, because all of these ideas are so interesting, and ultimately they are going to be joining all together. But what I did here in the JS server is I have different frameworks I've been writing, right? So Geppetto is my GPT wrapper package. What's maybe the most useful part of it is just being able to configure many models, to be able to load different keys, to do all of that kind of work fairly easily. Glazed is the underlying framework, which allows me to do both structured data, but it also has like a help system in there that I do want to overhaul. Maybe already had some agents overhaul and I never looked at the result. And it's also the framework that allows me to do structured command definitions. So being able to define basically command line tools, but also REST APIs. Like, think of it as a tool schema library that allows you to define a schema and then generate a command line tool out of it, all kinds of things, which is the foundation of pretty much everything I built. GoGo Agent is an agent framework that I've started on that I've never really explored further. MCP is my MCP framework, so this one works quite well. It has like pretty nice features where you can just, if you use the glazed command descriptions, you can just say like, please add an MCP verb to my command line tool. And then all of the things available in the command line tool become available as MCPs, which makes it pretty easy. And then Pinocchio is my command line tool to do LLM interaction. I wonder if this is stuck. I often have it like stuck in thinking, and I'm not sure what it does because it seems like it should be outputting a little bit more. And I don't know if I need to kill it or what's going on here. This might be something for the MCode team to look at. So while this is running, just to give it like a little bit more time, I'm going to show you just for an intro for the people who are here, just see if it's working great. So currently this didn't work because it loads its port from somewhere else. I do have a rate limiter seemingly running somewhere on this port, so let me kill that. The rate limiter stuff is something I was working on for work, so we'll look at that later on. We're going to open as a workspace this workspace here at Geppetto JavaScript. And why can't I copy paste? Yeah, I think this is stuck, right? Like I can't even control C it. That's something I've seen in the past, which also the MCode folks should look at, I think. So anyway, we're going to open this folder. Yeah, please open it. And then where's the MCode actually? So which one is it? This is the workspace manager. Oh, okay. So it did write the thing after doing the control C. It seems to like kind of catch itself. Interesting. So it wrote 01JS server work report. And what we're going to do is just basically have a look at it. Let me restart cursor since it seemingly has an update. What is this? This is the rate limiter. Goodbye. Where are you, cursor? In the meantime, let me see the Claude. Actually, let me see if there's something still running on port 8080. No, there's nothing running. So if I start Claude, I'm going to have an MCP that exposes port 8080, on which nothing is available. It also exposes port 9090, which gives me access to the JavaScript sandbox that is running inside that MCP. And we're going to expand upon this idea. I really like having a read eval print loop here, and things I can do over here is I can write a simple counter web app using execute JS, make it really minimal, use Bootstrap CSS. This is more to go against the Claude system prompt. So this whole environment, having a chat environment, I don't know which current, like Open Web UI, does it support MCPs now? They have to. I know that they were like kind of not doing that. Do they have it now? I don't know, man. I really should spend some time moving away. I don't think they mention MCP, right? Native function calling tool. They do have an MCP tag. Weird. Oh, hold on. Does Open Web UI support MCP? All right, so anyway, what this MCP tool allows you to do, and it's weird that I'm not able to see the JavaScript that it executed anymore, like the arguments passed to the tool call. That I find that to be like even worse than it did before. But we can look at it in the background. So it created this code here. So it wrote a REST endpoint using kind of an Express.js kind of framework, which just serves some HTTP, right? And it has like a button over here. It has a counter. Then it also registered the JavaScript endpoint, which is going to do the counter work. And then it just serves those two endpoints. So if I now go to JavaScript 8080, I'm going to have basically a simple web app. The cool thing about this, and it's not persisted right now, right? Like if I restart the MCP, it's going to be gone. The code stored in a database, though, is one of the things I want to do is like basically make this persistent. Because the cool thing is that now I have a counter application. I really don't need the LLM anymore. I do, however, have the flexibility to still interact with that application using the LLM. So if I say, add a ×2 button as well, then I can, instead of asking the LLM to do the work, so obviously this is a trivial example, but if I had, say, a data analysis application, I can very easily still leverage the richness of the chat UI, because I do think chat UIs are really nice because they give you this like infinite flexibility of doing stuff. So if I refresh it, right, like now I have this thing here. And still, this is like, if I refresh it, like I don't need the LLM anymore. So it's like incredibly fast. And if I have a data analysis, say, application, instead of using the LLM to write reports, I can write the code to generate these reports, which are structured enough that I can do this deterministically, or at least compute the data to then ask questions about it with that LLM. With that, I don't remember what I was going to say. Anyway, this is cool. One thing I need to do is persist the code. The other thing I want to do is like these currently the JavaScript. Oh shit, that's the question I wanted to have answered, right? Supports integration with MCP to OpenAI API proxy, which exposes servers through standard REST Open API endpoints, direct integration. Okay, so that's cool. This might be something to look at instead of Claude. Because then we can try, I kind of like Claude. I don't know why I like Claude. I think it was because it was the only one that allowed you to load MCPs for a while. So I'm like still stuck in that mindset. So the first thing I do want to do is just have the JavaScript have access to LLMs, which I implemented the sampling functionality in the MCP protocol, which allows you to call the MCP client from the MCP server to do inference, and like nobody supports it. I was like, at least Claude should support it so that I can have the JavaScript use the Claude application to do inference, but no, they don't. So that was really, really disappointing because I think it's a pretty cool feature. Like one of the things that MCP really gets actually is useful. So we're left with having to write our own. And that's what we're going to look at first, right? It's like I had actually Claude Code built something there, but I never tested it. So that's what we're going to look at. I'm never sure about the font size that I should use for people to be able to follow along. I hope this font size is okay. We'll see. So let's see what was built. Executive summary: successfully extends the GoGo MCP.js web server by integrating Geppetto's JavaScript API, transforming it from traditional Cobra commands to modern Bear commands with comprehensive profile management and providing full AI capabilities, including conversations, embedding, steps, and whatever. So I also had Manus build me a couple of things, and what I want to do is ultimately, instead of having something like Claude Code where you can only put in, so this is the big idea that I'm going to play with, which is instead of having Claude Code or AMP Code or whatever the current UIs we're starting to build around. By the way, I just restarted the MCP, so if you go now, it's gone, right? But however, it's not entirely gone because if I go to the code database, to the backend, and I go into the history, I still have all of this history. I just need to reload it, right? So if I load this in the playground and then I run it, now I do have this application back. So doing this automatically is going to be an interesting problem, right? Because like some of the code overwrites previous code. So it's like, oh, how do you get the latest version back? Do you just like re-execute all the things one after the other? But some of that code modifies the database as a one-shot, not as a function. So you only want to keep like function code. So maybe instead of execute.js, I should also add maybe a little tool that's called define function. So go a little bit beyond, just because it makes it easier to manage, or use an AST to parse whatever is in the code and like keep the persisting parts. We'll have to play around with that. And the one thing I want to play around with is I do want to have like a nice UI to interact with my JavaScript sandbox. So this is already one that is pretty nice and that we might want to use as a standalone thing. And in a way, it is a standalone because if I run the JavaScript, it will give me that. So actually, I just answered my own question. I already do have a playground. I asked Manus to build like a bunch of command line playgrounds, which is pretty nice because ultimately, and this is the big idea, instead of having something like AMP code or Claude code or whatever, I do actually just want a programming environment with a way to quickly launch coding agents. And by coding agents, what I actually mean is code that is able to write code, right? It's like that's basically all an agent is. It's like what we currently define as an agent is like human gives input and then code does something in a loop, calling an LLM in a loop. And that's a very, very trivial kind of algorithm to write code. And we're starting to devise all of these more complicated patterns to do sub-agents, and you have like an integrator, and you have all of these. And all of these get hard-coded often into the framework instead of leaving it to the LLM to write the framework as needed. So a very simple kind of approach we could try is as a prototype, and then hopefully if the inference in JavaScript works, we can actually try it out for real, which is I want to build a complicated algorithm A. I'm actually going to keep it I'm actually going to keep it pretty nondescript. Do I want to keep it pretty nondescript? Or should I use a known algorithm and am I going to fight against the training corpus, which already knows it? I'm also going to use Chat OpenAI just because I will have, I'm not interested in it actually building a web app, which Claude really wants to do. But also, I do want it to be a little bit faster. So I'm going to try with the generic approach, right? I want to write a complicated algorithm A first. So, and here I'm going to kind of build an algorithm by hand on how to do things. This is like kind of the traditional way we would think about, okay, how can we decompose this to use sub-agents? And really what we mean when we say like we want to use sub-agents, we want to saturate LLM calls, right? We want to saturate compute. We want to use as much compute as possible in parallel to get our job done in the shortest amount of time. So like just like a traditional optimization problem is like, I want this complicated algorithm A as fast as possible. Please saturate the compute to make it happen. And having a single LLM do it in a loop and implement the whole thing is obviously the naive approach and is going to be the longest approach. So what are ways we can use to parallelize this? And one of the answers in the design pattern we have is like, oh, let's make a sub-agent. Or if we step back, if we do want to have this like initial loop, this like naive approach of writing the code in a simple agent loop, we often first write a plan, which is a linear list of the steps to do. So we're already kind of creating an ad hoc algorithm where we say, okay, what's the plan to write a plan on how to implement and validate it. And I'm just going to say Markdown. So here it's very, very generic. So we're going to see, okay, what is the plan to build an algorithm, right? So the first one is like understand and specify it. Cool. Then design it into components, whatever. And then we build a test harness and we do an incremental application. Oh, funny. And so all of these things are, they are not in the order that I would necessarily put them. Because I would put logging and observability is obviously part of both the design phase and the design of the implementation, right? But so if we look at it, what can we parallelize here? We can parallelize the research if we do have different things to look at in the research, and maybe just brainstorm an ensemble is a way to throw more compute at it and get better results, and doing it in the same latency than it would take us to do a single step, right? So I'm going to do like more minimal single list just so that it's easier to view on stream what we're doing. So we're going to define the problem clearly. We're going to break it into components or stages. We're going to choose appropriate data structures. So here already we could see like, oh, do we want to use data structures? Do we want to launch multiple inference at the same time to do these data structures? Do we want to do all of this in one inference, which takes longer, but is like cost-wise is more efficient, right? It's like we can totally think of parallelism as parallelism in time by doing multiple inference calls, but we can also think of parallelism as doing multiple steps in the same inference. So even if you think of something as, say, different agents, right? Like different things with their own little view of the world, that still doesn't mean you can't do inference for multiple agents in the same LLM call, because LLMs are kind of able to separate, to model something as separate context. And the crazy thing here is that we can even leverage the fact that we use the same inference for multiple agents. Say if we launch multiple agents, they come up with their own data structures, and then we do an inference step of say like, oh, please implement. At that point, we can have each individual agent already know about the data structures the other agents designed, right? And suddenly we're going to save a step of merging later on because we're already merged at the design phase. Those are ideas I want to play with, right? So we're gonna play with this. I think I like this quite a bit. I don't think ChatGPT can do mermaid diagrams, right? Can ChatGPT do diagrams? Why is ChatGPT so mid? Why is it so mid? Open web UI diagrams? Should I really use mermaid rendering? Yeah, I really need to explore open web UI. We're going to try to do ASCII diagrams, maybe. Imagine you have a team of 5 programmers, break down these steps so that as much as possible can be done in parallel by multiple programmers. Yeah, let's see what it comes up with. So make an ASCII diagram of the implementation flow. We'll see what comes out, right? This is just like kind of an experiment, but this is kind of what I would expect it to do, where you can do different things in parallel and then join, right? So this is kind of like, okay, this is where sub agents happen. This is where the final cleanup and docs happen. And then we can start maybe being like more complicated about all of this in the sense that we can add like data exchange between those. We can add, add designing the test suite and sub algorithms as well. Also model information exchange with a special type of arrow. I don't know. So here, this is basically building a plan, but building a plan with parallelism in context. And here you can actually see, I'm not sure what P1 and P5, and then this is assigned to P2, P3. So show more of the parallelism in the sub-algos. And you can imagine much more complicated structure. I'm going to try to experiment with that. And you'll see where all of this is going to come together. Because yeah, I like, this is starting to be like a little bit messy because it doesn't fully understand what I want. But imagine P star R LLM coding agents with a prompt and start method, write pseudocode for this implementation, and also add necessarily loops plus compilation plus run plus validation steps deterministic. So we're going to see what comes out of this. Oh my God, it's building the... but so here we can see, right? It's like we can't really see where it waits. So let me rewrite this. Prompt and join and context inject method. And so we're going to see what happens here if it's able to build this like kind of graph kind of algorithm. Yeah, so it was able to understand what I meant by context inject. So we're going to start our algorithm, define algorithm A, output a spec MD and interfaces. We're going to then wait for it to finish. We're going to load the spec and the interfaces. Then we're going to inject the spec into each of these sub-agents. We're going to start them, right? Then we're going to join all four. We're going to inject the interfaces. So this is weird, right? Because why do we inject the interfaces later on? That's maybe because it over-indexed under context injection. But maybe this is also just giving it the freedom. Maybe this is a good idea, actually, right? It's like maybe it's a good idea to inject the interfaces later or before. These are the kind of things that suddenly we have this really rich kind of sub-agent modeling framework, and we can start experimenting with these things, right? Like we can start having in these subcalls here, we could also give these sub-agents the tools to do things like, oh, wait on a certain condition, or like inject, broadcast some information that you have coded instead of doing it through design files that you then have to join on. So those are all pretty interesting algorithms to be run. And in fact, P2 start, like the fact that something is called P2, it really is just like, oh, we're forking a thread. And it doesn't need to be P through P3 and be reusing it, except as just a context management technique. So P1 here really is just more like a data object. And then the fact that we added a start method is to just like leverage the fact that we're calling it agent for now. And so after we join all of these, set up integration PY to merge all of what came out of the interfaces. Then we're going to join on it, and then we're going to do these deterministic steps. We're going to run it, and then we could potentially like loop over things to compile them properly. And then the same with these different things. So this allows us to leverage the LLM to generate code to actually build its own little agent framework as needed. And we can also, store this as a more general framework to implement algorithms parametric by number of max agents. Do we even need that? No. To implement different algorithms generically. Basically, we are defining a code agent algorithm So let's see. And this is basically, we can ask it to build code like this, right? Implement algorithm, and then it's going to do the number of agents. What we can do is like create necessary agents as needed and only reuse them when context can be reused. Start context data task description. So we're going to see if we start modifying the signatures a little bit. And here, basically these primitives, starts and join, those are things we can, they're basically just standard primitives, with the only thing that's like special here is that this start method or whatever the run method is able to call an LLM. It doesn't need that it even needs to call an LLM, right? Like it can be like totally deterministic and just be there to create, say, log output for injection into other agents, for example. So what we can do here is these specs, etc., can be structured such that the number of agents is actually read out of the spec. So how many agents, how many sub-agents should be created can be read out of the previous results and used ad hoc to maximize parallelism. They are not hard-coded, right? Like we're starting to make it like a little bit more generic. So I hope I'm brainstorming at this point, right? Like I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm exploring this idea, and this might be pretty interesting. Is like, you know, this is exactly kind of what I wanted. Is suddenly we can start doing a real prompt engineering on this first prompt, and because LLMs are getting pretty decent at prompt engineering, this is also something you could potentially even do on the fly, or use this like technique I was showing in the Claude MCP before, is like treating these algorithms as basically code you iterate upon until you like it and you snapshot it. So kind of have this like read eval print loop plus an editor on the side maybe to work. So basically your code agent now is not like a command line tool that you can use to delegate code tasks to agents. It's a programming environment, and it just so happens that you can also call LLMs out of this programming environment. And this is what I asked Cloud Code to implement, and I haven't tested it, but if I can call LLM inference out of JavaScript, then hopefully we can actually test this. So let's see what we can do out of that. Let's see what we can do with this. We have our Geppetto bindings in JavaScript. We register the Geppetto bindings, and I wonder what workspace or MCP is in. So let me see what workspaces I have open right now if I need to merge something. Holy shit, I have so many. Why is it showing this twice, by the way? Oh, it's just formatting. Okay. Add slash commands to Pinocchio. This is starting to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so add Geppetto.js is fine. And I'm going to go into this workspace and just see if the GoGo MCP is up to date. And I think I didn't work on it recently. Git diff origin main. Yeah, so there's no difference. And then I think this was before. Excuse me. This was before Workspace Manager was able to do branches correctly. Man, why do I always feel tired when being on stream? Even though it's like Sunday morning. All right, anyway, so I am going to integrate this into the JS Server MCP, which should be in, Jesus Christ, I have so much shit open, which is under Gogo MCP JS web server experiment. I also wonder if as part of this, it did create a little command line tool, or if I should just integrate it straight into the MCP, or if I should add the REPL to my JS web server. Maybe that's the first thing I should do, just because it is fun to do and it's like funky, and we can try that. So I have this project that Manus built. I do have a little vibes repo where I can kind of put this stuff that I have no idea if it works or whatever it is. It's just artifacts from Manus. And I am going to see what this is all about. So this is literally just asking Manus. Let me show you the prompt that I use. And I really like firing off some Manuses to do that kind of stuff. It's like build a Goja JavaScript REPL environment in Golang using Charm-based bubble tea. Use VHS by Charm to take demo GIFs. Add support for / commands. And then I refined it like just a tiny little bit. The cool thing about the GIFs is that I can actually look at them and then see if this stuff works. Which is kind of like a playwright for the command line. It's not able to export text screenshots. I did add a pull request to VHS to do that, and I need to update my prompt to actually tell the model it can do text screenshots, because then it will be able to quickly compare if its stuff works or not. So I added stuff here, make sure the project compiles, run in Tmux, and show, oh, I started to add like Tmux bindings, which I think was asking a little bit of it too much, or Manus is not really able to run Tmux. In any case, I experimented quite a bit. Maybe the Tmux stuff was a mistake because it now added too much, but we're going to see what it's like. And I can let me unzip this. Let me close this nonsense. If I go into this, I think there's already a binary. Let's run a binary that we never tested. And we can do / commands. We can do a help. We can do manage Tmux sessions, Tmux start. Do I even have Tmux installed? I don't know if I should use Tmux or Kitty or whatever. Holy shit. This actually works and then like fucks shit up. So, so this is maybe a project for another day. All right, we don't have any REPL going, but this is a pretty good start, right? And then the fact that I can just get that, I think I was literally at the coffee shop or talking to someone, and then just go back and have, you know, just like a bunch of what is research? Oh, it's a folder. Yeah. Oh, I do even have demos, right? iCat, demos. Oh, iCat doesn't play GIF. All right, well, whatever. Some GIFs in here. How do I open GIFs in Linux? I don't even know, man. All right, this looks pretty good. We're gonna add this to Git. We're gonna remove the binaries though. And I think that's it. Is there any binary left in here? It doesn't look like it. All right. Sparkles. Add Goja REPL. I always do this typo, and then we're going to push to main because this is like the don't give a fuck repo. We are going to, however, now if I look at my workspaces, right, I have this add Geppetto.js workspace, and I think I had it implement the VSM add. Yeah, so I can add to Geppetto JS Geppetto with double T, and then I can add the vibes repo to it. So if I go to add Geppetto.js, I do now have the vibes repo in here, right? I can launch AMP, and I can say add a REPL c vibes REPL dot main go to JS web server main.go as a verb to quickly experiment with the REPL, because I do like command line stuff. So that's how we're going to do it. We have AMP running on the side, right? So now I think this is pretty much going to be a one shot. So we're going to go back to our document and we're going to see what this actually did in terms of the bindings that it said. Wait, what did it do here? Oh, this is the JS server work. So this is interesting because this is quite old. So I must have committed this already, right? Because this is JS web server serve.go. JS serve.go. Is that? Yeah, so this is a bear command, which is the glazed framework I was talking about earlier. Comprehensive profile management, profiles integration, JS web server initial profiles content. All right, this is all good. Custom middleware implementation. We do now load the profiles from Viper. We also load them from Pinocchio, which is interesting. And then we should have test inference. So we actually already have scripts. Maybe I already tested this. This seems like I merged all of this into main, right? Into the MCP. So this is kind of interesting. I think I already built the JavaScript bindings earlier. This is the problem with like AMP code is like, especially if you have many ideas, like maybe I do, it's so easy to just be like in a candy store, right? And just like make too much. I experimented with like, you can just see from the number of projects I have, like I added template scripts to the workspace manager, which I still have to merge. I added / commands to Pinocchio, which I have to finish and merge. I experimented with the Kitty control tool, which kind of works, but not fully. I have a Datadog CLI tool that I need for work that is also, I think works actually. I was just like trying to figure out authentication stuff on Datadog. I have Redis rate limiter that I need for work. I have this Geppetto JavaScript and then this GitHub Graph CLI thing. I started actually on the plane to San Francisco 10 days ago. No, 2 weeks ago. And I, or not, like when was that? 12 days ago? Yeah, whatever. And I never did anything with it. So, so if I go to add Geppetto.js and I go into my GoGo MCP and I go into commands experiments JS web server, and it says that I should have a test inference in here already. So do I? Test inference. Look at that. And then if I do go run command, wait, where's my main? Go run dot. It actually doesn't compile. Okay, so that's a problem. Undefined commands context in the REPL. Oh, it's this dude like working. So that's kind of why I built a workspace manager, so that I can experiment in parallel on the same project, obviously. And everybody's building like their own tool to do that. Here, I didn't actually fork it off to add the REPL, which I probably should have done instead of just adding this code to the project. Lesson learned, right? It'd be good to be able to do that in the workspace managers, like to kind of clone a current project. So I'm going to add that to my little to-do list, which, can you see it? Oh, it's right here. I kind of write all the random shit that I want to add. So for example, the proper agent MD management thing is this script template thing that I was playing around with in this other workspace. So I don't know. Another thing I can show you while this is going, let me write down the idea first because otherwise I'll forget it. It's add forking to workspace manager, and also add rollback across repos, which is another thing that just popped into my head. The problem with these like to-do lists is adding enough context, at least for me, to understand what I even meant. All right, so did this actually build? So yeah, now I'm going to use charm VHS to create a few demo tapes as well. And go build dot JS Playground. Where did it create that? I think it's just like go run. Oh, we're wrong directory. If we do this and then command experiments JS web server, and we should now have a REPL verb. All right, we do. All right, cool. So that works. Sweet. I mean, yeah, it's sweet. We can move the git commit message here, or is there a git? Oh, we have to. We have to go into GoGo MCP, and then I think we can just commit this using the commit message that it created. And we would need to add git add command experiments. It's actually writing the tapes right now. So we'll see. We're going to commit it anyway, even with the tapes. All right, because you can see I added to the agent MD to create these kind of like pretty elaborate just commit messages, because I'd rather have too much slop in there than not enough. I don't know why it calls it JS Playground, but I can even do multi-line. What does that even mean? Go run command experiments JS web server REPL, because oh yeah, it goes there, and then Control J for multi-line. Oh, this is cool. Man, it's just like the cool thing about leaving so much leeway to the models, right? Because I just said like, oh, please add multi-line support, is that they're often able to just do better stuff than I do, because I just don't have this like knowledge of the training corpus that's encoded in there with like actually pretty good patterns on how to do things. So my idea would have probably not been as cool as being able to enter and exit multi-line mode in this way. It doesn't have history, so this is also like a funny little thing to add. And I really need to get my game up with terms of to-do list, because I used to be really, really good at keeping to-do lists on index cards, but I suck these days, and it also needs to be overhauled with regard to all the progress that AI coding has done, right? Like the simple fact of having a to-do list now is extremely different, because to-do items are literally like full features that can be built in a couple of minutes. So it's like, how do you deal with that in terms of managing your to-do, how to cross things off? Maybe I should just making a to-do app with LLM inference is a fun idea, but if inference actually works in this, and I add persistence to the JavaScript web server, which might totally be possible that I build it this morning, then I will be able to create a to-do app and then it's done, right? Like just by vibing it and persisting it, and then I will have this full to-do app with LLM inference, with a chat that I can just actually share with a single SQLite database. Like I'm really excited about getting this over. So, oh wait, yeah, see, I moved the file, which was a conscious decision on my part because I wanted it to recreate a new one. And here I think it's going to be the same stuff twice. So we'll see. And one thing I should have done maybe is launch those in the sub-agents. I don't know. If I look at the git commit message here, it just has a ton of the repeated stuff. So in this case, I'll actually start editing it and just be like, added a new REPL, subcommand, blah, 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 VHS demo tapes, and then just do this. And we have git stat, we have git add command experiments, and then we're going to do the YQ stuff again, except this time maybe I should start using // remove it, and then remove it. Okay, new commit file next time. Now add history with arrows up, down in a sub-agent. Also add a keyboard shortcut to edit the current multi-line entry in a external editor. Any other features that would be cool? I'm going to see what happens if I do these two things in a sub-agent. After both sub-agents are done, don't have them compile, then use the main agent to merge. Experiment. I have no idea. I don't think this will work very well. I think this like forking in this other framework of the coding agent framework that I was talking about, and actually already forgot what I wanted to write as a to-do list here. Fuck. I had a cool idea and I forgot it. Maybe it was the multi-line history stuff. Who knows? By the way, people often say, you know, if you forgot a shower thought, it's not that bad. If it was a good idea, you'll have it later on. That's not true. It's like if you have a good idea and you don't write it down, it's gone. You might have it again. You might. But I started being pretty good at writing all my ideas down. Most of them you just forget. Like the amount of number, like some ideas just like keep reoccurring in different sketchbooks literally over years. But a lot of them and a lot of the really like insightful ones are not, right? They appear one time, it's like, oh, that was really cool. I really should build this. And then obviously if I look back, there's the chance that I will have that idea again in the future increases, right? So it's really when you go back and you notice that 2 years ago, you had a really, really good idea that would have been lost forever if you hadn't written it down because you hadn't had it later on. Anyway, I'm rambling because I often get confronted with this take that if the idea is good enough, you'll have it again. No. Ideas, they might be a dime a dozen, but also they're a dime a dozen of really good ideas if you start developing a sense for that. So I'm curious to see what the tool agents, what the sub agents do. So we have a sub agents here. Yeah. And so it running is because here, and so I added something to the agent MD to say, like, if you start running into conflicts with the model file, then stop. So this is the coding agent will have to actually do this kind of workspace management to deal with it, right? And so I told it, if you have like trouble editing a file twice, just stop, because I had a race condition earlier on that would like just fuck shit up. This is a pretty amazing way of just fucking shit up to have multiple things edit files at the same time. And this is definitely something, if you are able to design the stuff so you can do files in parallel, like adding new verbs and stuff like that is stuff I had success with. But I think you really need to deal with it at a sub-agent forking stuff and working on separate workspaces and then handling a merge later on, right? Or this interesting concept that I had earlier, which is you can actually add sync points in between where you say like, look, the other agent is doing stuff as well. It's like notified me that it has finished writing some files. Let me exchange that information as we go, because we already have it and we might just stuff it into the next inference that we start. So there's like a lot of really fun, subtle parallel design algorithms we might want to do. And there is this pretty good book, which I actually lost, or like I gave away, and I really should build it again, which has it has like herons, it has like birds on the cover. So it's not this one. Let me see if I find it. Maybe I should look on OneLib, because OneLib's just better. Yeah, let me look on OneLib. Concurrent design patterns, concurrent programming. I should just ask ChatGPT, isn't it? Parallel programming design patterns, was it that? Parallel programming patterns, concurrent patterns, parallel patterns for parallel programming. I think that's the one. No, it's not. It has like birds on the cover. It's a blue book. I'm just gonna blue book with birds on the cover about parallel concurrent programming design patterns. Not pro. They must have distilled O3 or do something, because it's like much faster at times. So fast I can't even read the covers. Anyway, is this thing done here? So if I do run this again. Oh, there we had it. 2 plus 2, 2 plus 3. I can go back in history. Control J for multi-line function foobar. And then there is, however, there is no, the editor stuff failed, right? Integrated OS exec for external management. Control E. Oh, Control E edits in the external editor. I'm not sure this works. Holy shit. Exit. Yes. No. Yes. No. So wait, it does like edit foobar, foobar. And then if I do 1 plus 2 and I do 1 plus 2, Control J, edit. Okay, I do get it. Plus 7. Write out, exit. Alright, it does some weird shit, but I kind of expected it to be a little bit jank. I wonder what the two cursor business is. And this is the stuff that I actually want to do over Tmux. So this is more like a gimmicky thing. I wanted to try the stuff with the sub agents, and obviously it didn't work all that well, which is fine. And then we're just gonna commit from the previous one. So that's cool. We're gonna push it. And often what happens here is that stuff is not linted and stuff is not formatted, and maybe there's like some tests that don't work. See, this is the kind of stuff where pushing it is going, if I start fixing these things, right? Like I could ask the model to fix them, but I might as well just do this at the end. So I am going to bypass the checks when I push it, just to not confuse the LLM too much, right? Because if I start fixing things, this thing will have to reload all the files that are necessary. So let's continue. I do want to see if I can see the profiles that I have, profiles list, and it should show me like a bunch of profiles, and I'm not going to show too much of them. We're just going to export Pinocchio profile. Actually, I should just be able to do some inference, right? If I do JS, let me... It's starting to get a bit unreadable here. Run scripts with Geppetto AI capabilities. Files. Oh, I did test the thing, right? So if I do command experiments, JS web server examples test inference, checking API availability, compare creating conversations test inference, testing async inference, sync inference result 2 + 2 = 4. What does this mean? Did it run correctly or did it not? Sync inference result. Okay, so this actually worked. Test async inference. And it doesn't have the streaming inference, which might be interesting to have, right, in the JavaScript. And so this might be a little bit more complicated. So while we have, do we still have the M code that we used to write this feature? It's still here, right? So what I'm going to do while I'm at it is I'm just going to write a tutorial about loading, adding JavaScript stuff. Like, let me see what this all has. It has consolidate. All right, so I actually already did. So that's cool. We are in the branch task add Geppetto JS. Like, what needs to be committed? Nothing. So we're just going to create a pull request at this, I guess, at this point, right? And then also a pull request on the MCP. Arrow up, update go dependencies. So at this point, we might want to fix the linting, right? Here as well. Okay, so this works. And then what's the status on our fork? So we do have glazed add secret type. Okay, that's cool. That's something actually that I do want to have in Geppetto itself, because I keep exposing my credentials. So this has already been merged. This is cool. So this is already used. This is fine. And does it show me that it has been merged? Oh, it's a head one. What happened here? Why is it a head one? Oh, because I rebased it? No. Okay, so what happens if I do see the status of like where my workspaces are at? That's like not great, and I need to figure out what the best way to indicate this would be, because now it shows me that it hasn't been synced. So if I git push force it, what is it going to tell me? All right. So the only thing that it tells me that needs to be, so it tells me that add Geppetto.js has been merged. That's interesting as well. I forgot doing all this stuff. Git fetch origin, git diff, git rebase origin main, git diff origin main, status. All right, so I just need to, so this has already been merged except for GoGo MCP, right? Git push. This has been merged. No, it hasn't been merged. It notes, and then GoGo agent hasn't been merged, but it's clean. And Geppetto has been merged. I'm a little bit confused here. Oh, Geppetto has been in sync and it's merged. It's GoGo MCP that needs to be pushed. And then this one we might want to clean at this point, right? Use own middleware creation. So this hasn't been merged either. So Pinocchio might need to be merged as well. This is one of the messy things. Like after that, I realized, oh shit, I need to be a little bit more careful about how I manage my workspaces. And we already saw, I already reused the same workspace to do different features. That quickly leads into this like chaos. And the funny thing that you might notice is like this mess takes me way longer than actually building the features. So really it's all about workflow now, right? It's like all about being a good manager in a way. And so, or automating all of this, right? It's that's where this WSM workspace manager comes from. And so I don't know what happened to this one. Git fetch origin, git rebase origin main, and then git push. See, in here we might need to fix those, right? So we're gonna do these. Fix this subagent, paste different subagent. No. Also disable the exhaustive switch check for this switch. Where was it? Oh, there. And I'm not going to launch a separate subagent because the model Go is a different one, right? So why didn't it copy that? Oh, it did. What is going on here? Whatever. All right. Still a little bit confused by all of the stuff that is going on, but this one for sure needs a pull request. So I'm going to create a pull request, which is like add REPL to JS web server, or add REPL TUI to JS web server, which is not really that big of a crazy thing, but might do this. What the heck is going on here? How is that? Is that just like a linting weirdos thing? Sometimes the linters just like don't like, yeah. So that is good. Left hook, git push, push force, create pull request, add. Wait, what did I do here? Git log p. Yeah, whatever that is. Whatever that is, the create pull request has a good chance to do a better job than me. And this should be turned into an agent so that it's able to like introspect a little bit more code as it builds its pull request description. But hopefully that's something that's soon going to be really solved very easily, right? So what is it doing here? It's like add interactive JavaScript REPL with Geppetto AI integration to... Wait, oh, no. So it's going to override it, right? Like that's because it's not thread safe. So funny. That's another tool that I need to rewrite in Go to make it easier to deal with. So let's wait until this is pushed. And you can tell this cleanup is like taking forever, right? Like I really need to streamline this, make maybe a web UI, also make it possible to do this kind of shit from my phone. So this pull request is open, and now I can redo the create pull request over here. And we're going to wait for the tests to go through. It has 4,000 lines of code for the REPL. Oh, because it added all the tapes. Oh, it has a backup file. Like this is something we might want to delete, actually. Backup. Can I delete this file from here? Yeah. Yeah. Delete leftover backup file. All right. This is still 4,000 lines of code and docs. That seems like a lot. I think this merges actually quite a few things that weren't pushed. It wasn't merged. I did a boo-boo. Or maybe... No, the Geppetto stuff was merged and then the MCP stuff wasn't merged. So that's cool. That is indeed quite a bit of code. Let's see if this is all that useful. All right. That is crazy. All right, goodbye. So the inference works. The streaming works too. We do have this JS documentation in Pinocchio, but we're going to take it a bit slower and just wait for all of this to finish and just kind of... oh, holy shit. Wait, what? Oh, because I do need to bump glazed. Okay. This is like one of the problems with all these like dependencies and all of that. It's because I use workspaces, I'm like often not aware of which things have been bumped and which haven't. So if I go into GoGo MCP, and actually let me go into Geppetto as well to see, did I push the latest version in here? Right, it's like, this is really stuff that I need to tailor to my own open source too, which is I have this release workflow with tagging release versions and all of that. So now it's going to update everything to like their latest version. And then I think I have Docker lint that I can use. And maybe I should use that before pushing. Also, it's using the wrong version here. I'm sorry that this is like not all that fascinating, but it's work that needs to be done. And maybe it's also a good idea to actually have that on stream to show you the realities of coding with multiple agents at like for me, it's like what I'm struggling with, and what might either getting tips from you guys who are more advanced, or give you ideas of how to deal with your own stuff if you think this is better than what you do, or just let's figure this stuff out together, right? Because it's like a really new territory of how to program, and there's so much to be invented, to be discovered here, that it really is an exciting time. So now that I bumped the Docker version, let me see what it does, and then we'll push it. So there's other patterns, right? Like I have this open source and I have make files everywhere. Now all these make files need to be bumped to v210. So that could either be a job for an algorithm, right? That says like, oh, well, first I need to find all the make files and then I need to run a sub agent to update them. Or maybe I can find all the make files and then doing a targeted edit on them. Those are kind of algorithms for a coding agent, and it's not, a coding agent doesn't need to call an LLM to do all its code manipulation, right? It's like, and if you start thinking of the environment as something that executes code, suddenly it becomes really easy to build these ad hoc things without having to resort to shell scripts or so. And even more useful than that is the tools that you define that often are going to be specific to your project, right? Like how to run tests in your project, how to do X, Y, Z, instead of having to put that into an agent MD and hoping that the agent's going to pick up on the way you run unit tests, which in my experience is like pretty fragile. Suddenly you can write a function that's called like run unit tests and even like parse the output, like do all kinds of like really nice deterministic things, and having the security of it being able to call it the next time around. So lots to be discovered here. What did change in the model? Oh, it's fixing the issues, right? So now the lint all works, which is cool. So actually, let me do this. And then git push, and since everything builds and compiles, I don't need to update it. Wait, what? Why is this? Oh, because I deleted the file on the other side. All right, cool. So now we're going to have to wait again on this running, but we also have these like vulnerability checks that maybe are important to run through. Add mcode server toggling to terminal UI. I thought I fixed that. I think that's already merged. I think this is just a codex experiment that I was doing. Let's close this. All right, so we have this to merge. And then we had another one that I pushed to merge, which was in... Man, I already forgot which other branch we pushed. So if we go into Geppetto.js, and we do VSM status, what was the other one that we needed to merge? Was it Pinocchio? Yeah, use your own thing here. I'm not sure why it says that GoGo agent needs to be merged. What's the difference here? Oh, it hasn't even been pushed, right? It's still at the... Oh, hold on. I do have a task add UI viewer. Add TUI viewer. This is again, I misused like a workspace to add features without having the workspace called the same way. So kind of confusing. And then the other one we had was in Pinocchio, right? Pinocchio polls. Pull requests. We have 3. Add streaming blocks for... I thought I just pushed this. We've added terminal for monitoring. That's so wild. I have no idea that I added this. And add Geppetto.js, and then here it was in Pinocchio, right? Holy shit. All right, this seems broken. So what should I do with this? Oh, should I create a separate workspace to remember that I did that? Yeah. So add TUI viewer to go agent repos go agent. All right. So now I can go into this part. And what was the branch? The remote branch? Add TUI viewer. Git fetch, oh, go agent, git fetch origin, git fetch. Okay. And then git reset hard. All right, just do a little bit of cleanup over here. Yeah, this is a complete mess. Like this was, I did like way too much. This is the first time I kind of started leveraging my my workspace manager. You can see I added like 15,000 repos in here, added one today, and then I was not really diligent of where I was starting new features, and this really kind of like starts to hurt, right? So git fetch origin. So here I have like a different main as well. This is kind of weird. All right, anyway, so what I can do is VSM delete. No, can I do VSM remove? Delete a workspace, remove a repo from the workspace. I don't think I have that. Is it enough to just remove the repo? I'm going to do this. Move go agent to temp. And then what does it say in the status? Does it try to discover that go agent? Because I have no idea how this is implemented. So yeah, it does seem to want to store that somewhere. I don't know where it stores that info. I don't know where it stores that info, and also I think it's going to be important to add that so that I can actually cleanly model this. So this was not, it's Pinocchio polls that I need. Add custom middleware chain. So we're going to bump this dude first. Resolve conflict. Yeah, can't you like resolve this conflict by yourself, depend the bot? Anyway, why does this fail to compile? Jesus, there's so much to be. Nancy vulnerability scan. Vulnerable dependencies. XNet 038. Man, fuck you. I'm just gonna merge you. And then Dependabot can do its work, hopefully again. All right, so we merged the custom middlewares. We do need to... I don't think if we need to merge that. And then this dude has... Same. XNet 041 is now broken. Jesus, what? This is so annoying. So we're going to merge you as well, and then we're going to let Dependabot do its work. All right, we're starting to have a little bit of cleanliness over here. And I didn't think this would turn into like the vagaries of doing multi-agent programming, which is starting to get really, really complicated. So I'm going to add the GoGo agent deletion, like being able to delete that. And to do that, I'm going to actually update the workspace manager. And the workspace manager is like, is really kind of starting to be worthy of its own repo. It's still in my labs repo, but we will have to move it pretty quickly. So I'll go in here and then I'll be like amp. Nope. So this is the other one. That's why I did build the templates. Amp, and it's that add remove repo functionality 2. And you'll see, like, I really don't really prompt very much, which on the one hand, I have no idea how this is implemented. This is why I didn't know where the storage was. But then it also gives it the freedom to do really cool stuff that I didn't think about. And write a guide, Go Labs implementation MD that details how workspace management is done in detail, from the architecture down to the implementation, with all the context necessary for a new developer/intern to work on the project, useful paragraphs and bullet point lists and short code snippets, and refer to file names and function names. This is something that I should store at this point. I think this prompt works relatively well to do nice documents, at least with AMP code. And then once we have this remove functionality, we'll be able to remove GoGo agent from the add Geppetto.js, then clear the workspace and remove it entirely, and then take a short break. Because, man, we're deep into the project spaghetti stack trace. And then we'll actually start maybe experimenting with calling LLMs within our framework, since we're now able to do it. And another thing that I want to do, since we merged the Geppetto.js stuff, is at this point, I am going to start a new project again because I am going to add streaming support to the JavaScript stuff. So I'm going to do VSM create add streaming JS support to repos Geppetto. Do we need any other repo for now to do that? I don't think we do. So I'm going to go there, copy my agent, and then I know we added JavaScript documentation to Geppetto. Is that so? Oh, that's something we should make available as JavaScript methods as well. So it's add Goja JS bindings for glazed help. And at this point, it also becomes clear that I do need its own separate repo for all the Goja extensions that I'm adding, because it's starting to grow, right? Like I have my Express framework, I have the JS bindings, I'm starting to add streaming to all of this with concurrency. I want to add like glazed help system support to the JavaScript. Like it's just starting to build up. I probably want to have like a terminal UI and tmux control and kitty control, like all of these things make sense to put into their own repo. So this dude is merged. If we go to Pinocchio and in the polls, did this guy update? Yeah, man, I don't know what you're doing here. I'm gonna close your ass. Oh, by the way, this book that I was looking for, that's not the book that I want. Cover, deep blue, blah, 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 pattern-oriented software architecture. That's definitely not the one. Yeah. So I have this one as well. This one's pretty cool too, I must say. But it's not the one that I want. Parallel architecture. Man, I'm annoyed because it's a really good book, and every time I search for it, I forget what it's called. This is the one. I knew it. Deep blue with herons. Save with used. There are other paperback, other new and used from $25. 25 delivery, used good. Off you go, my boy. Drop price, $29. Anything else I might want to buy? All right. I keep rebuying books that I bought before, and I was in Berkeley at the bookstore, and I was like looking at the Mythical Man Month, which I have given away as well. I was looking at it and was like, is this even relevant anymore? It was like a really weird feeling. So who knows? All right, did we add this feature over here? Cool. So this was in which workspace did we do that? In we did that in, I think I should sort them by date. Oh yeah, it is sorted by date. So it's this guy. And this guy has GoGo Labs. Oops. Git status. Git add command. And then move implementation to command apps workspace manager. And what does this actually look like as well? Apps workspace manager implementation. Can I less this with the colors? No. Let me close this M code for now. All right. This document provides comprehensive documentation for the implementation, repository discovery, workspace creation, worktree management, architecture, follows a modular architecture, design principles. Those are so fucking boring. Workspace manager, config, discover, workspace directory, discover, execute, command structure, blah, blah, blah. Remove command, work tree, creating work trees, blah, 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 removing work trees, workspace, creation process, go work file, if applicable, configuration loading. Loading establishes default configuration, workspace config, file space, this. How does it find, oh, registry JSON. But that's just for the repos, right? Save workspace. Config registry workspace name.json. Failed to create workspace directory. Registry path workspaces. So where is that actually? Config workspace manager. Okay, so this is where all the repos are at. This is where all my templates are at. And then this is where the workspaces are at. Okay, cool to know that this is how it's implemented. So what's the status in here? Failed to detect workspace. What? I am in a workspace, you numbnut. Unknown flag. Oh, status? Yeah, why don't you know what's going on here? Why don't you detect the workspace? Huh. Is there a bug? I'm gonna add this. Because it now has the implementation right in its context, so it's actually going to be able to do research into more weird things, which is, why is status seemingly broken? I used to be able to call it within a workspace, add enough debug logging and run WSM status. I don't know if it's going to be able to escape the directory, but we'll try. C for example, and then we're going to paste this, and then we're going to paste that. This is leveraging the fact that I do have the implementation MD in the context, so might as well starting it. Hey, Croatia, how's it going, Ray? That's pretty cool. How'd you like it? It must be beautiful right now. Are you next to the sea? So we're seeing our buddy Ray chiming in. Man, I have to take a break after this. It's already been 2 hours, I guess, and we haven't... I guess we have built quite a few things, actually. Or at least finished things up, and it's... yeah, I've never been to Croatia, but the pictures I've seen are just, like, insane. I have this weird thing. I don't like going to countries where I don't speak the language, sadly. And it's because it just disturbs me. It makes me feel weird not being able to communicate with people necessarily. Although I guess most people speak English in Croatia. At least the younger generation. Okay, what was it? What was the issue here? So this is really cool, right? Because you give it has details about its own implementation, which it can also find by looking at the source code, right? But here it was exactly what I was looking at. And then it's able to kind of introspect and run itself, right? Because it's like now able to do this. And suddenly it adds itself here as well. So obviously, since we haven't built it yet, actually, before I commit all of this, right? So we're gonna commit this, add remove repo, but now we're going to, oh, is it in here? Yeah, see, sometimes it puts it in this directory, sometimes in the other. This needs to be code as well to be committing the git commit message and having some kind of like scratch pad for the agent code. No, this is, I'm just, Ray, this is, I've never tried Claude Code lately. I've tried it when it came out. I'm so used to AMP currently, like how it behaves, that I don't know, I'm not switching. And really, you know, I just want to build my own at the end of the day. It's funny to see that everybody who uses these things obviously have gotten pretty used to the speed at which you can build features, so everybody's building their own. It's hilarious to see. Every person I talk to has like their own fleet management software, and of course doesn't really share it, even though it's really nice. It's really polished, right? Like this workspace manager, I think I might want to share it just because not everybody's there yet, and maybe the use, like maybe some people are more amenable to reusing code that other people have written than me, but I'm like squarely into the like not invented here territory now. It's like, I just can't use other people's code. They all suck. I'm joking. There's amazing stuff out there. Like someone, I was posting this thing on X, right, where I was like, look, I did this like MCP eval prototype, and I was like really proud of myself. And then this guy just came up and built like the same thing after watching my video in like a couple of minutes. It seems like Martin here is just amazing seeing the like, oh yeah, by the way, I made this and it looks like 15 times better than what I did, which is funny. Can I yeah, so this MCPs are so boring, which is the thing that I streamed like 2 days ago, and I don't think I even explained the concept very well. And then Martin's like, "Yeah, this is great," and then built this. Oh man, this I find it so amazing, and also like kind of like pinches my heart. There's like a little bit of jealousy here, where I'm like, shit, man, like I just explained this idea, and then people build it like way better than I could. Yeah, I think the savings, apparently, if you have the $200 plan, because I'm sure I spend like way more than $200 per month on this. I actually really need to go back to my budget, because this is really eating my shit. Yeah, man, this looks so good. Martin, I don't know if you're listening, but I'm low key jealous. I'm low key jealous about this. Just to let you know. Oops, not show my DM. What happened here? I was talking about Lisp. This is pretty fun. Yeah. It's pretty. I'll have to go back at this common Lisp stuff and dig into it deeper. Anyway, I found the book that I wanted to show you guys, right? I'm gonna show the evil stuff on screen, but I bought this book like 3 times already, so so bear with me. Structured Parallel Programming, which is, I think there's not many books like that take this like kind of abstraction-based approach to examining different problems. Where's the fucking PDF? There we go. Also, OneLib is, oh, what is that? That looks sick. I mean, this is actually exactly what I want to show you. This is so much better than Amazon to discovering cool books. Like, it's really amazing to see how enshittification can really like break stuff, right? It's like, look at these recommendations. Like, all of them I want to get. And then especially even more if I log into my account, then like every book I see here is like, holy shit, I want this book. I want this book. This looks so cool. This looks so cool. And then you're on Amazon, it's like all garbage. It really shows you how much we're leaving on the table by focusing on revenue and all that stuff. Because this could be real, right? Like I could have like a little button that says like buy or give money through authors and still have like the same kind of like commerce stuff. And then instead you get this, even though the website is like so much more discoverable than the other one, right? It's like, to me, it's crazy how much we're just like leaving. From when is this? 98. And they're just books that are out of print anyway. It's like, if I'm going to buy it, I'm going to buy it used anyway. So what do you care? All right, let me log in. I don't even know my logins. All right. Give me this book. I love it. Give me this book. Don't give me this one. Give me this book. I love old books. Is this interesting? Is this maybe even what I want to show you guys? By the way, I know I keep saying this, but like old books are the real alpha. I hate the word alpha, but it's true. It's true. These are the dope shit. How do I do this? Okay, and how do I page scrolling? All right, parallels and models and parallel computation, mapping and scheduling and graph-based systems. So this is actually really relevant to the agent stuff as well, right? It's like if we conceptualize agents as basically just trying to squeeze out performance by doing parallel inference calls, right? So like reducing latency and maximizing compute, then all of these patterns, I hope we get nice little graphs out of it. So this is not what I'm looking for. This is not what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. These kinds of things become relevant again. And this is something that's just been really, really well researched for data parallelism. And in a way, this is what we have right now. If you think of it as like sub-agent graphs that people are starting to experiment with, you can basically plug and play these diagrams in there. And then you don't necessarily need to like deal with all this shit, right? But this one also looks like a little bit more academic than the other one. But this will give you like algorithms for working on graphs is what I saw. And they have like algorithms for generating these things. So, and then people say like, don't over optimize like bit of lesson and whatever, bit of lesson, blah, blah, blah. Dude, this is what you can do these days, right? It's like, you can totally over engineer shit. Oh man, come on. Is it because it's too big? Do I need to upload it in two passes? Oh my God. Can I do this at least? All right. There's no OCR on this one. So let me just showcase it. Also, I'm just interested in it. And then I do this. I'm going to switch to 4.0. Transcribe. I don't know if 4.0 is the better to transcribe. 04 Mini, I've heard, has good visual understanding. I'm not sure. We're going to let this run. But really what you can do is also like give this to Manus and be like, hey, Manus, can you implement this algorithm and like please validate and do all the exercises in this chapter? And it just does it, right? And so all of these things, that they've been engineered. Like you don't need to engineer them. Just like take the old stuff and have the LLM build it. And then you benefit from it immediately. You can just like literally drag and drop it into your own code and say like, hey, LLM, please like, you know, integrate this into my own code and make it work on my coding agent. This book looks sick. And usually these old books you find for like $2 on Amazon, which is amazing. So Structured Development of Parallel Programs by Susanna. Structured Development of, my memory is so bad, man. Structured Development of Parallel Programs. Structured Development of Parallel Programs, Susanna. The fuck is that? Is it broken? By the way, great camera. Structured Development of Parallel Programs, Susanna. Yeah. Others and new. Shit, those are expensive. They're all new? It is like a 30-year-old book. Hey, books. Used soft cover from $200. Oh, well, that was the one that I wanted to show you. That's not available. I need to take a break. So let's see if the remove works actually. So we're going to build this into local bin WSM command apps workspace manager, and then I should be able to do VSM status now and have it work. All right, that's cool. And then I can do a VLS. Oh, but it removed the merged? Because before when we did VSM status, we had the merge status, right? Did it break that? Oh, yeah. That is so weird. All right, I'm going to take a break, then we'll clean this up, and then we'll move on. Or maybe we should just like leave that for... if I leave it, I won't do it. All right, let me find one of my loading screens in this ass search. Streaming, pause, or break. Retro stream break loading screen. Let's look at that. Is that the one? Yeah. Publish and copy link. Link copied. I'll do a 15-minute break. Does that sound good? Full screen mode. All right. See you guys in 15 minutes. All right. All right. I just ate, so I hope that I'm not going to crash out too bad. We'll see. Maybe I'll also just call it a day after that. So, yeah, I was saying structured data programming is great. Continue generating. Yes, please. You can totally over-engineer stuff. You can also see the parallels between these diagrams that I was showing and the stuff we were experimenting with in... Man, we did actually go through some stuff. No, where was the experimentation we did in ChatGPT at the beginning? Where was that? The parallel between these graphs for parallelization of coding agents and the stuff in the book that I was just showing you, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff to be gained here. And what is going on? Jesus, bro. Like, did it finish? AGI is near, man. AGI is so close. I think all these web UIs really show it. Implement it in pseudocode. Fuck you. I was just going to try. And why don't we use to create that graph example? And then in case it didn't really transcribe, I'm just going to copy it again. Construct tree. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this is going to do, but we'll see. I killed something that apparently shouldn't have been killed. I don't know exactly what I did there. If this was just because it was the wrong branch and I hadn't merged it already. Unknown command info for workspace manager. Yeah, I kind of killed my workspace manager, didn't I? Where was the latest version? Workspace manager, it doesn't have the info. Command info? Oh, it has the command info. And then in here... Oh, because I didn't rebase, right? So I'm going to rebase to origin main. Merge conflict. I'm going to say reload command status and fix the conflict. That's the other thing the workspace manager should do, is like notice if something's not rebased. Oh, yeah, managing features, managing how to release them, how to manage them, how to do all of these things, especially when you, even in the small, right? Once you have sub-agents, that starts to become really, really interesting. Also see what the use of Git is in all of this stuff. So adding like Git bindings to JavaScript for execution, or just giving it like a shell execution command might also be like a good idea. Let me see if this now works, right? So git stat, git add command apps, workspace manager command, and then git rebase continue. Yes. All right, we successfully rebased. And then if I do WSM status here, I get that. And so now I'm going to say also check for rebased on main branch when doing status. it's so easy and so tempting to add all of these little features, right? I think it's great, but also it's like easy to forget that you added them. So, I mean, Git is just like a nice tool to manage source code snapshots, right? At the core, Git is just like a database of immutable files along with a history for it. And I think the history data structure as a tree, in fact, as a graph, like I think you can do all kinds of crazy shit in Git. Is just like a good tool to have that you don't necessarily need to reinvent, right? Like, I don't think of Git as like a source code management thing. I think of it as a database of blobs along with a history of blobs, and you can indicate that merge operations happened. Like the only difference, say, I have a whole rant that I can do about what do you call it when like people squash their commits. Yeah, so anyway, squashing commits is basically just losing information of the history, and it like literally does nothing else than you can use the standard Git tools to basically have both that information and supposedly the comfort of squashing. And anyway, tangent, I think of Git as just like a persistent tree data structure, and having trees are nice because they just like show you how stuff that has been parallelized over time gets merged back, right? Like you will have this starting point, and especially if we move away from this like agent model to just be like we have parallelization with a bottleneck resource, which is the LLM inference, which is long, is expensive, and is rate limited, right? It's like having a GPU, right? It is a GPU actually, and you only have one GPU or you only have two, and so you're trying to get the most value out of that resource, which is like a magical resource, by utilizing it 100% as much as possible, while also optimizing for quality, right? Like the more you can run multiple agents in parallel, the easier it is to potentially have quality. If they review each other or if they write more unit tests, or like, and then on the other hand, you also want to build features faster. But you want to do that by leveraging your GPU at the most, right? And if you have an agent that just like does an inference, then does tool calls, then does an inference, you have this like kind of hiccupy resource utilization, and it's going to be like, oh, your resource is only being used like 70% because 30% of the time it's spent in like compiling unit tests or whatever. So suddenly you're like, okay, well, what can I do during these 30% of time while it's building these unit tests? It's like, well, build more unit tests, for example, right? And so you end up having this like, as you build a task and this task or these tasks happen on the same code base, you'll have this fork join kind of maybe sub fork join patterns, because time just moves forward, right? So you will have these snapshots in time, and Git is just like a nice set of tools to put that into a database. Like if I were to snapshot the workflow of parallel whatever, it will look like Git. Because it literally is, if you think about the thing in the bigger scheme, is like Git was invented to deal with the massive parallelism of people working on Linux, all of which are little individual programming agents working on complicated stuff together on the same code base, and that's literally what we want to do here as well. So I think it's an interesting thing to keep in mind, that like Git is kind of a data structure that was built, for example, to deal with sub-agents. All right, so we added a rebase console, so let's try that out. Go run command apps workspace manager status. Nice. I love it. Git add command apps. Do we have a git commit message? Is that the latest one? Add new remove. No, wait, do we have another one here? No, we don't. All right, commit message. I don't know if this is going to cost me like 50 cents to write this, so whatever. Does that make sense, James? I don't know when I should actually share the question here. Is like I don't know if the UX of Git is right. Like I don't even know what Git UX means. I think I'm stuck in like V1 of Git. Like I don't know the new commands really. I just use branch and rebase or checkout and rebase, and you can do like 90% of the stuff. I think the UI sucks. I always like visualizing things in a graphical view, but I think the UI is going to be much more at a, I don't know what the UI for all of this stuff is going to look like. Like the UI that I want is like pretty much a REPL maybe, and then experiment from there and just like create the ad hoc UI as I need it instead of trying to find like a generic solution. It's like so easy to generate ad hoc UIs that actually we might try it, right? So we have this implementation here. And so I don't know, write a full document about these approaches, pseudocode. I experimented with like approaching implementation as a parallel data programming issue, where if you implement algorithms, you can actually build like a generic algorithm to split implementation of an algorithm into a sub-agent thing. Right. So if you have an algorithm, you can do a fairly simple plan of implementation, right? Like define a problem, break it into stages, choose the data structures, build a stub, add tests and invariants and whatever. And then I said, imagine you have a team of 5 programmers, break down these steps so that as much as possible can be done in parallel by multiple programmers. And he kind of broke it down and it's like, oh yeah, well, 3 programmers can like work on different features and together. So I built this graph then where you can see the assignment of the different programmers. And then obviously after they each built their component, you need to integrate it and then you can like further parallelize it. Then I asked for like a little bit more complicated stuff. This is not to say that this is great. This was just more like an experiment. And I said like, okay, well, implement it, right? And so it said, okay, well, the first agent has to define the algorithm and output a spec. You load the spec into the context and give that to the further agents, etc., etc. And then what I did is store this as a more general coding framework to implement different algorithms generically. And then I said also actually use this to determine how many agents you even need. And here you can kind of look at it suddenly doing a really generic kind of thing, which is like, well, how many sub-algos are in my spec that came out? Let's start all these agents. And suddenly you have this, is it sub-agents? It's like an ad hoc algorithm for dispatching agents to build a certain type of algorithm. But if I were to build a web page, for example, this could be a very different kind of splitting. And so what's interesting is what we could do is just leave it up to the LLM for all of this is like make a nice UI for designing and running these kinds of algorithms, and then just like literally pasting this and leaving the job to an LLM, right? So that would be like as you are in your REPL, and which is the whole concept of like my MCP thing. Actually, I should have run this in the MCP. Why don't we do it? Let me unwind my stack though first while this is going, and just merge this. Yeah, what do you mean by foot guns? Do you mean agent foot gunning themselves? I think overall we should approach the problem of coding and agent coding as writing code to write our code, which sounds like pretty meta, but it's the shape of what sub-agents should be doing really depends on what you are actually trying to be doing, right? Like if I'm debugging a weird problem in production, it could totally be that I want a sub-agent to look at this database log and another one to look at this log, and I want to look at this log. However, when they did a specific type of inference, right, like they each have their context because this allows me to run this analysis in parallel, for example. that they exchange information. Or maybe these three agents collect logs, which is something that takes time, and then merge their observation, right? And then do a single inference. And in this case, like, do you think of them as agents, or do you think of them like as I'm tailing three resources at once and then just pushing it into an LLM as a single agent? Doesn't make any difference, right? It's the same code. And so the UI that you want to have really depends not only on the problem you have, but also like you, right? If you prefer to think of it as three sub-agents, each looking at the logs and then reporting to a master agent, then you want a specific type of UI. If I think of it as like, let's tail three data resources and push it into my pipeline as a linear step, then that's a very different UI about it. And maybe your UI will allow you to do things that I can't do with my design pattern, because that will mean changing that design pattern. But ultimately, it's like similar to the code we execute on our CPUs, right? It's like, it could totally be that I build a web application that renders these pixels in a certain way, and I use Vue.js to do it, and then you build an application in React with like an Elixir backend or whatever, and it does exactly the same. And it will lead to the CPU kind of like sending the same pixels to the screen and parsing incoming data packets in exactly the same way, except to us, it looks like a massively different way of solving the problem, but it isn't, right? At the end of the day, we have a CPU doing data crunching, and LLMs, as magical as they are just a GPU crunching inputs and outputs. So I don't know. I'm rambling right now. Like, I don't know if I even agree with what I just said, but it's worth thinking about, right? So this, for example, is a UI to say like, well, implement this algorithm and generate the pipeline for it, and then maybe the max parallel agents is, it's like, it's I don't even know what this UI is, right? But you could kind of like add mock data plus graph display and make it simulated. I think this is going to explode Claude, but might as well try. And all right, this is the implementation of, this is the other thing I was saying, right? Is like, we shouldn't be afraid of just over-engineering things, and even like brains, like just throwing a lot of over-engineered things at the wall, because it's so easy to over-engineer things, right? It's like, literally, I can take this algorithm and then this misunderstood it because it didn't transcribe the textbook. But you can take like pretty hardcore algorithms which are in the training corpus or are not that hard to implement, or models are getting good enough to implement all of this shit. And they just say like, hey, algorithm, LLM, like, please over-engineer this, or like, please implement this over-engineered solution and like, tell me if it works well or not. So yeah, I don't know where this is all going. And for now, I have to merge my my remove thing. So let me see if it updated the. All right, cool. So we're gonna commit this one. Then we're gonna WSM. So we're gonna go build it and save it. If I do workspace manager status, we can see that it's not merged. And then I think we can do WSM PR and it will create a pull request. No branches found that need pull requests. So this one's weird as well. Might as well fix it as well. So I'm going to push this. When I create a PR, it seems that it is not able to figure out that I maybe should push this branch, but it needs merging. Fix this. And use a sub-agent. Those are kind of like unrelated, right? Like, I don't know exactly what AmpCode does also to get the context back from the sub-agent. That's something I definitely want to see. And inspecting the different contexts that I send to each inference, I think is going to be, at least for debugging purposes, but also while designing these reusable sub-agent algorithms or design patterns, is something you definitely want to have. And I think one thing that's really unexplored right now is like, well, I could imagine that I have, 5 independent agents as like my mental model as a programmer, because I'm used to working with colleagues, I'm used to working with humans. It's like a nice model to think in, right? And it's like why people are so set on like the concept of agents and sub agents, is that we're used to thinking of things that do complicated tasks independently as having agency. And however, there's no reason that the intelligence needed by these agents to do their next action has to be independent LLM inference calls. I can totally tell the LLM, like, you are 5 agents, please output your stuff, right? Like, that's totally possible. I knew this was like gonna fail. It's gonna just like mess itself up. Let's try this. Run these kinds of algorithms. Add mock data for LLM calls. Allow the user to create and visualize the graph, then simulate it. Keep it minimal. And we'll see if we get like a nicer UI out of this or something that actually works. What is this dude doing? Like, another thing that's going to be, I think, pretty important for the UI is just like reports on what has happened, as so many things happen at once, right? Like, that's kind of the main work that I do, is like say, like, can you please write what you just did in like a clear manner so I can review it, instead of like looking at 18,000 files changed by like tons of little things. Whatever I call them, agents or not. Like, agents are a nice way of thinking about certain things, because it's nice to see, for us as humans, reports by individual things that pretend they have agency. We'll see. Like, that's why I want to have this very, very simple eval kind of approach to all of it. I'm going to try to build this UI for a sub-agent code-oriented, like, parallelization workflow, using my eval tool to build up a UI and a database as I go. And it might actually be it's going to be like a final implementation of something, which is pretty wild. I also asked it to build like Git on top of my database, and it kind of did. And I discarded the branch, I think. Because it was just like too much for me to review. And it was just like an idea on a whim. All right, the sub-agent has fixed the PR command logic. The issue was the branches don't only exist on remote, were being skipped entirely. Okay, cool. So if I do go run command apps, workspace, manager, PR. Oh, it's actually building a PR by itself. Commits ahead. Okay. So if I remove the debug, it already has an existing PR. That's hilarious. Feature task add remove repo. And then, so here I would have to integrate like my creation of repo text, which we can do. But first we also have to holy fucking shit. Git add command apps workspace manager, and then do the YQ thing, and then git push. And then what is all of this garbage? Is it just formatting? Yeah, all right. So the repo is now set here. Actually gonna create pull request, add remove plus fixes for workspace manager, just to get the text out of this. Yeah, I'm gonna do 20 more minutes and then I'm gonna call it a day. We did mostly a lot of cleanup, but actually I think I also worked through a lot of mental ideas that I had around all of this, which is pretty good. So add repository, remove and improve, remove, force remove files, PR command enhancement, auto push branches, show push status indicator, status command improvements, add check needs branch, add comprehensive fix and breaking changes. All right, cool. This is actually pretty good. And so I'm going to take temp.pr.yaml. I'm going to get the title and I'm going to clips it. All right. And then I'm going to do the same for the body. Tokens, lines 42. Okay. All right. And we're going to merge it because we don't give a shit about, oh, what is that? All right, whatever. This is going to fail drastically because there's just so much garbage in this repo. So we might as well merge. All right, cool. So that was the workspace manager. Let me make sure that I have the build version. And then I'm going to do WSM delete because now the WSM status is going to tell us that we merged all of this. And the rebase is like done because I deleted the remote branch. All right, cool. So WSM delete, add, remove repo. Remove get work tree, remove workspace configuration, clean up workspace specific files, remove repository work trees will remain. Are you sure you want to delete the repo? Yes. And, oh, so which ones? GoGo Labs contains modified or untracked files. Oh, it's the workspace manager. Okay. All right. Cool. So add remove repo works. We have TUI viewer is not finished. And now we should be able to do remove repo from our Geppetto.js, which has an agent thing that's not yet fixed. So add Geppetto.js, and then we can do VSM status. All right, and so GoGo agent is not is broken. So how does this work? Remove, add Geppetto.js go agent. Man, this is horrible to look at. All right, and it's removed, and I think we can now delete the entire thing here. Delete, add Geppetto.js. It really is a mess in my head. I don't know what all of these things, if I'm like gonna lose code or not. Remove work trees in GoGo MCP. So maybe I should add a feature to the workspace manager to say that it should tell me if there's like uncommitted files in here. Yeah, look at that. Git clean F. Oops. All right. Cool. Where does that leave us? What were we doing before we did all of this madness? We have the streaming.js support. We have a script to run. Oh, I think our MCP.js server now should have inference support. So if we go to the corporation and we go into GoGo MCP and we pull rebase, we should have all this new stuff going for us. We can run LLM inference, JS web server, run scripts on the inference. And we should have a REPL as well. So I should be able to call the LLM from the REPL. And that's what we're going to try out right now. So if we look at the test here on how to do inference, check if the Geppetto, so we have type of conversation. We do need, see, this is like kind of ugly ass stuff. But let us try it, right? So we're going to go to the GoGo MCP and we're going to go build this as, what am I going to call it? What's like a spiffy project name? AI Jesus for JavaScript Jesus. No, I'm going to call it Jesus actually. Command experiments JS web server. Unable to obtain VCS stat. I've never seen that. So holy crap. What does that mean? That's an error I legitimately don't know. Because the run, that works, right? VCS status? I've never seen that. That's weird. Yeah, my prompting is superb. All right. So this is the code here, and I think we can run the REPL now, right? So if I run the REPL, and oh shit. I wonder if it supports paste. Yeah, it doesn't support multi-line paste, right? And it doesn't support the conversation thing. So those are, I mean, this is the stuff we should probably then do next time, right? It's the REPL doesn't seem to register the Geppetto APIs. Does it allow me to do app? No, so app is not defined either. And what's the DB is probably not supported either, right? So we have a list of things to build here, and this should also go into its own repo, I think, at this point. So I have Jesus and Workspace Manager to create as repos. We have 15 minutes left. I really want to try this shit out, though. All right, so WSM create load JS bindings in REPL repos go MCP, and maybe we'll add Geppetto as well. We're going to go there. We're going to copy our agent because I haven't finished the template stuff. And then I'm going to say load the Geppetto DB Express bindings in REPL.go. Also add a function to start the web server for app. YOLO. Like really my prompting these days is just like let the AI do it, because the tools like Mcode or whatever, they're trained to do to-dos, so I just like shouldn't interfere with it. Like, so I'm not going to create my own spec or whatever. I'm just going to say like, yeah, I want you to do this, and go as far as I thought it out. Here I really haven't really thought it out much further than this, so might as well put that in the worst case. If this doesn't work, I will know more about what I actually want after that, right? And often the model might know more better than I do what I want. So I found this to work pretty well, and also I just like don't break my brain on things. The downside, of course, is that I have no idea what it's building. So, and it's hard to tell from the streaming stuff, right? Because like, and this might go back, James, to like what's a good UI is like having little thought bubbles from the LLM, like the thinking stuff that it does here, which is really like kind of instructive when it's done well and kind of garbage when it's done badly. So for example, also the raw thought traces of Gemini were really, really cool, and they censored them. And I was like kind of losing a great friend because the rest after that was garbage and really not useful, while before it actually helped me really understand what it was doing. To get that information, in your case, it ran git and git quit with an exit code of 128. Hey, why is my mouse broken? I must have had some dirt on it. Let me quickly fix that. I've got these like little trackball thing to plug into my keyboard, and I'm not the cleanest person in the world, so they often get like weird gunk. Also, I have a cat, so I often have to clean this shit out. That's really annoying. Because actually even compressed air doesn't even really do such an easy job. I just ate as well, so I probably have like oil on my hands. Because as said, I'm not the cleanest person. Alright. Let's see if compressed air is going to do. Alrighty. Sorry for the noise. Actually, I should have turned off the microphone. Whoop. And yeah, we're back. Alright, why is this not a Git repo? It is totally a Git repo, right? MCP go build. Go build. That is so fucking weird. Corrupted Git status? It totally works, man. It is a valid repo. What command would it run that could fail? And how do I see it? I'm on Linux. So maybe it's going to tell me to use strace or something like that, which would be pretty cool. This added the bindings, right? So this was in load.js bindings in REPL. And then we go to go MCP, and then we do go run REPL. And we do app is not new conversation. Okay, but why start web server 3000? How do I access the DB and register handlers, the top level DB and app objects? And so what is running on port 3000? Hello from JavaScript REPL web server. I have no idea. I wish I knew what it's doing. Start web server, HTTP handle func, blah blah blah. That's totally not what I want. That's totally not what I want. So that was bad. Bad boy. All right, now it's looking at the stuff. I should have linked the implementation document actually. This document here. All right. Git status porcelain. Okay. Git rev parse verify head. That works. Git show s format. Where does it know this from actually? Did it hallucinate that? Alright. Git symbolic ref q head. How to see the exact command? Let's see. This is hallucinated, I'm pretty sure. Alright, strace. Strace. Or git tracing. Is this hallucinated? I really wish it was better at indicating sources, actually. Well, we'll see. Core git status porcelain is equal to 2. Exit with code 128. The fuck? What the fuck? So there's this 128. Is this like a different git? This is so obscure. Huh? I've never seen this before. This is so freaking weird. Okay. So this doesn't work. However, what gives? I'm being a little bit anal here because like this is something I've never seen before. In the meantime, we're here in our REPL, so we can continue working on this, which is nice. And DB open, temp test DB query, create table, foobar, num, int. Does that even work? I actually don't remember enough SQL. Okay. DB query, insert into foobar values. How do I remember so much SQL? Because I've been tab completing that shit since forever. DB query, select star from foobar. A, console log A. Okay. I don't even know how to write JavaScript anymore. For, holy shit, I don't even know how to iterate over an object. This is painful. Print out. Do I have JSON? JSON stringify A. Results 0. Oh, we have this edit thing. I forgot about that. It's actually annoying because oh shit, it exited of the whole thing. Yeah, this kind of sucks, the editing, because Control E is the command to go to the end of the file. So A is equal to DB open temp test DB, right? JSON stringify A. Okay. A is equal to DB query insert into foobar values. Oh, I know I need to do this, right? well, what did I call it? Oh shit, it has like scrolling on the scroll bar. And then it has this nonsense. What the fuck? DB query. Insert, no. Holy shit. Alright, yeah, whatever. It has the DB query, it has .app, right? So if I do function return foo, does that even work? I don't know how app.js works. Localhost 8080? No, so that's another one. Start web server. Started on port 8080? No. Alright, so app post start web server 3000. This doesn't do anything. And then if I paste this, hello world. It works. That's amazing. And it's like res send. Okay. So if I do app.get /rec res send yo yo yo, then it doesn't do the yo yo yo. What the fuck is that? What if I update this guy? Can I overwrite? Oh, it cannot over register. I'll have to look at that. This is weird because I mean, I don't know how it's implemented, but compared to the version exposed in the MCP variant, it doesn't look like I can reuse existing path. For example, please investigate and write a full document in go MCP ttemp 250515. Oh, we're 06. 01, how is the JS web server functionality implemented.md, and unify the way the MCP version and the REPL version work to use the same mechanisms. I don't know if I need to write so much, but all right, but we are making progress, right? Because we do have now the way to do conversations in the way we were looking at it in performance. We can quit this M code because we're done. And we can go to load JS bindings and REPL. We can go to GoGo MCP, and we can cat command experiments JS web server examples test inference. And actually, this is not good for copy pasting. Then we can do our new conversation here. Chat step factory is not defined. New chat step factory, new conversation, JSON stringify conversation. Okay. Then it does conversation add message. Let's test that. Conversation has no member add message. Yeah, this is weird. Like, what is it doing? This is where I should look like a little bit more closely to the whole thing. Also, it's like funny because what the heck? Yeah, I should have. If I have a document on how all of this JavaScript stuff is registered, this would have been like better. So creating these intermediate documents are really important. And if you expand it to it not just being agents, you can store code for the next time, right? Like the same way you store scripts, basically, but it's like um, this more refined version. It's going to be always in the same programming language. You can reuse libraries, and it just like streamlines the whole thing. But also, you can edit them by hand while you're working on them in a more easier fashion. And saying like, oh, I'm gonna, I don't know, is I will we'll see. I just find that like to me, it makes a big difference of thinking it. I have a JS sandbox that does everything instead of like, okay, I have like shell exec and it can do everything. Because obviously it can do the same thing, right? It's like a shell exec could just load stuff into a JavaScript sandbox and it's like more flexible. Or the other way around, if I give the JavaScript sandbox the option to execute a process, then I have the full functionality of having a process. I think, though, be interesting to see. What am I talking about? It'll be interesting to see what maybe becomes possible by thinking of it as a REPL environment where you can dynamically modify code versus the agent model, the CLI tool agent model. Just thinking like, okay, well, I loaded coding environment.js into my JavaScript environment, and now I can write code. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully this works, and then I'll call it a day. Just to have, I want to be able to do an LLM inference from my JavaScript REPL, which is a sucky REPL, right? Like I'm sure there's existing JavaScript REPLs in Charm Bracelet. Actually, you know what? Design a nice JavaScript REPL code editing environment that's very Lispy AI, Lisp machine, Clim, like in TUI. Output a few screenshots as ASCII. No code, just prototypes. What is Claude going to come up with? Yeah, I like this. I like this a shit ton. I really, really like this. Because there's also already quite a bit of stuff to be gained from Slime and Co. And of course, you can make this programmable, right? Or you can use Tmux to do this, which I think is maybe even more interesting. If I were to use Tmux as a primitive, does each Tmux window need to run a separate process? Or can I use it as some sort of canvas? Move, test unified, sure. Yeah, that's right. Make more paints that are maybe inspired by Clim and generative UI concepts. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool ideas. All right, so we fixed that stuff, hopefully. So if we do R in a REPL, and we can do this. Also, add multi-line copy paste support. No quit on Control C. Does it have? Yeah, use Control Shift E is something handled by Kitty. Control Alt E. Alt E, Control Alt E. Yeah, for edit. I don't know. So anyway, we have this. We can holy shit. App. Syntax unexpected token const. Oh, because it doesn't do multi-line paste, huh? I'll have to review this REPL stuff. Contextual document viewer, live data flow visualizer. Yeah, I'm gonna say like, what would the widgets and primitives and the JS pseudocode look like to render, create the live data flow visualizer? This is me just brainstorming ideas, and I find like, I don't care about the code. I just want to see like a little bit what this looks like. All right. All right. This is crazy because it's kind of like you're able to probably build up something like Klim in a really fast fashion. Assume we have a bubble tea charm bracelet Elm kind of underlying UI model. What would it look like in that case? Be really sketch-like in your pseudocode. This doesn't need to run or even be syntactically correct. The fuck is that? All right, this starts to make no sense. Should remove Elm, maybe. Let's remove Elm from the example. Which is model plus view update plus messages. All right, that's more interesting. Interesting, all of this, all the stuff you can do suddenly if you add a JavaScript interpreter to the mix. What is it doing here? Should have done that in a sub-agent. Would actually save massively on costs. Sure. Let me see. Does this work now, the multi-line paste? Ah, this is amazing. I love it. So it said app-get unexpected token. So yeah, why did it add like square brackets around it? That's funny. That's like kind of a feature, I think. Syntax error, unexpected token, curly brace, because it's this weird shit. Why does it add that around it? Multi-line copy paste. Oh yeah, let's compact this. Let's maybe commit as well. No quit on Control C. Okay, Control Alt E for edit. So that works too. And then, because this allows me to do this, which is pretty nice. I wonder why it has this like blinking cursor down here. When doing multi-line paste in, so where was the multi-line pasting actually done? It's in multi-line test, multi-line .go. There seems to be inserted around my paste. That's weird and breaks it. I should have done that in a sub-agent again because it's not important for the top level context. I really want this to work. Like I really want to have like copy pasting from the tutorials work, and then test the tutorials and then call it a day. Because this is going to be nice for the future. And then here, while we were on that, this actually also looked quite nice, and it switched to Go in the middle, which is funny. Because I actually kind of want like a JavaScript kind of model. Okay, so I really like all of this actually, to be honest. And I think we can do this pretty nicely by exposing a couple of endpoints to inspect the current running VM, which we kind of already do. And actually, that would be pretty nice too. Would be to... did it actually find this error? Which is like, I can see the issue. Investigate why brackets, look at multi-line tests. Let me check the actual REPL implementation. Ah, that's funny. That's clever. All right, so now if I paste this, okay. So if I paste this, all right, I need to do 2 pastes because this has white space in it at the end. Okay. All right, so we do have that part, and then it would be great to have like /help in there, but that's for another day. That really is for another day. And then here it told us you can do this. You can also add a conversation. You can start the web server. And so we registered user get ID. Okay, and then we have the inference, right? So the inference was adding the chat step factory. We have all these 3 things in here. Nice. Then we can add the messages. Oh, do we have console log support? Yeah, we do. Nice. And we have an info here, which we should remove. And we can get the single prompt. All right, that's the single prompt. And then testing synchronous inference. Const sync result, start blocking. Sync result. No API key for OpenAI. Okay. So initialize the REPL command like the MCP or the run scripts. Run script is maybe better. The run scripts command so that all the flags and profiles loading happens. That was one of the things. Use subagent. And then what was another thing that I wanted to add? Gosh, there was something. There was something I wanted to add, which I don't remember. Oh yeah, remove scroll link for scrolling the history. Since I wanted to scroll this session. Another subagent. Man, it's amazing how much you can just like yeet out of it. Yeah, I think this with Tmux control would be really nice because then I can just use an existing editor. I can have a single inspector, which is basically just calling things over REST, maybe. I think that's going to be a pretty nice setup. Is there another agent running? Why is it not running at the same time? And what's up with the multi-line flag? See, this is funny because you want to make these kind of tool calls as resilient as possible. So reading a directory should kind of do an ls. And that's the kind of stuff that now is like hard to do, but it's something that I could very easily do. if I had a JavaScript environment for agents, right? I would just say like, oh, please unlock or replace the read tool. And then the next time you load it, you have these kinds of things fixed. So it allows you to basically improve the environment inside itself instead of having agents run on the environment on your tool in a separate window, right? You kind of start thinking of it as a big malleable kind of ecosystem. And actually, you know what? Running Open Genera on a Linux x86. Right, like for example, also running like terminal UIs, I could do this, modify the tool, create a tool that's called like run REPL that actually runs the REPL in a tmux and then returns certain screenshots. Like all of these things I could build for this project and store them in the project themselves, right? So what are you doing about the scroll bar, about the scrolling, dude? So maybe it's also time to just commit as well. And yeah, it didn't start them at the same time. This is weird, huh? Should have told it in parallel. Improve REPL. Worst commit message of all times. And there's really a ton of linting to be fixed. This actually looks like a little bit weird. Excuse me. Man, it's so hard to stop. I was saying I'm going to stop at 2 and it's already 2:30. And I could go on for all day because I have so many cool little features to build. What is it doing? What? No, 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 no. No, 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 bro. Bro, I don't want you to remove history. I just want you to remove. All right, this is not what I wanted. I want to only remove using the scroll wheel to browse the history. I still want keyboard history. Use sub-agent. Be cool to have like control R, all this kind of like stuff in the REPL as well. Man, it's going to be so easy to build all of this as I add tmux control or kitty control and using Claude to do all of it, or like AMP code or whatever. Really opens up crazy possibilities. John McCarthy's? Okay, write full tutorial book about getting started with Clim and OpenGenera or their equivalent generative UI programmable UI framework. Bloop, 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 bloop. Experienced Lisp developers, 2 OpenGenera plus symbolics, Clim, 3 OpenGenera, 4 hybrid, really long and detailed. I'm getting tired, that's why I'm so quiet. Oh. All right. So does this work? And then it's still doing the scroll bar, huh? Is this like a kiddie thing to do this? All right. Anyway, I wanted to test the inference, right? Like this should be working now. If I do const conversation, and then I do conversation add message, and then I do const prompt single conversion, and then const sync result. Error 401 unauthorized. You need to provide your API key and authorization header. Okay. I'm going to debug this another time. We're making progress though. We're making progress. The weird thing is that it works with the other one, so there's like still differences. The last thing I'm going to do before I stop though is lint. Fix the linting, right? In a sub agent, fix the linting. And then what does make lint do? Oh yeah. Make lint. Damn. So close. So close. Actually. So if which one does Claude use? MCP.js server, it still uses embed.js 03, but we're going to call it Jesus. Oh, we still have the weird, like, the weird build thing, right? Doesn't run Git just once. Oh. I wonder how many of those are hallucinated. This seems all like pretty odd. I'm in the wrong directory, huh? Dude, what am I even doing? Here the Go build works. That's funny. Did I rename it to Jesus? Yeah. All right. LSOF who port 8080. We still have Claude Desktop running somewhere. What is that over here? This is Kitty control. All right, Claude. Please exit. Claude, are you running Jesus? You are running Jesus. Cool. And so in here, we do have this like inference, right? Try running inference and show me the result. Here's how to do it. Oops. Clips. No. All right. Let's see what happened. Because then I kind of want to do like SSE stuff with a JavaScript VM. I don't know what the multi-threading does. The API method name is different. Like, why can't I see the code, you obnoxious little tool? You used to be able to show me the code. You little critter. What were you saying? Actually, I should have tested it in the playground. Yeah, so we have the problem with the missing OpenAI API key. That's so funny because run scripts. Oh, did I break run scripts maybe as well? Go run scripts. So that still works. So what's the difference between run scripts and the other? What is it doing here? All right, anyway. This is going into credential territory, so I should just not do it on stream. All right, I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching. And I think making progress in my head about how to design and build all of this, I think it's really exciting. And we got to clean up quite a few tools, which is also cool. Always pleasant.